Grab your coffee. Turn down the lights. Let's go back. In 1976, she was a tomboyish brewery worker who couldn't stop making America laugh. She wore a cursive L on her sweater and drank Pepsi mixed with milk. By 1988, she had become the first woman in history to direct a film that earned more than $100 million at the box office. And almost no one saw it coming. We tracked down all 8 stars of Laverne and Shirley. 50 years later, 6 have passed away. 1 secretly battled a devastating disease for 15 years without telling a single soul. And the man who played the lovable fool, his second act might be the most extraordinary of them all. Let's begin with number 8. She showed up in season 6 as Rhonda Lee, the vain Marilyn Monroe-esque neighbor who dreamed of stardom and flirted with every man in the building. Leslie Easterbrook brought trumpet-playing talent and shameless confidence to every scene she walked into. She joined the show late, but she made sure no one forgot her. When Laverne and Shirley ended in 1983, Easterbrook didn't miss a beat. The very next year, she was cast as Sergeant Debbie Callahan in Police Academy. She appeared in 6 of the 7 films of the franchise, from 1984 through 1994. Later, horror director Rob Zombie cast her as Mother Firefly in The Devil's Rejects. From sitcom neighbor to action comedy to horror icon, she never stopped reinventing. Today, at 76, Leslie Easterbrook is still acting. Her husband, screenwriter Dan Wilcox, passed away in 2024. She serves on the board of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund and remains an accomplished competitive sports shooter. Of the 8 people on this list, she is one of only 2 still with us. But while she's still going strong at 76, the man who played Laverne's father never got that chance. He was gone before most fans even realized it. Number 7. Every time Laverne walked into the pizza bowl, there he was. Frank DeFazio. Gruff, protective, a Brooklyn Italian father who loved his daughter more than anything and wasn't afraid to show it. Phil Foster played him with a warmth that felt like your own grandfather. What most fans never knew was that Foster was born Fievel Feldman, the son of Russian Jewish immigrants in Brooklyn. During the Great Depression, he competed in amateur shows alongside a fellow unknown named Jackie Gleason. He served in the Army during World War II, then became a nightclub comic billed as Brooklyn's ambassador to the world. It was his old friend Gary Marshall who brought him to Hollywood. Foster had helped Marshall get started as a comedy writer years earlier. Marshall returned the favor with the role of Frank DeFazio. Phil Foster died of a heart attack on July 8, 1985 in Rancho Mirage, California. He was 72 years old. The show had ended just 2 years earlier. He was the first member of the cast to leave us. Think about that for a moment. 2 years. The show ends, and Frank DeFazio is gone. Sometimes the people who seem the strongest are the first to slip away. But the woman who played his wife on screen? She lived long enough to return to Broadway at 82. And the reason she had been away from Hollywood for decades will stun you. Number 6. Edna Babish was the landlady who fell in love with Frank DeFazio and married him. Betty Garrett brought a motherly warmth to the role that connected the younger cast with the older generation. But long before Laverne and Shirley, Betty Garrett was a star. In the late 1940s, she was one of MGM's leading ladies. She danced alongside Gene Kelly in On the Town and Take Me Out to the Ball Game. She was on top of the world. Then the House Un-American Activities Committee came calling. Her husband, actor Larry Parks, was forced to testify about past political affiliations. He was blacklisted. Their careers were shattered overnight. Betty Garrett spent decades in the wilderness before television gave her a second life, first on All in the Family as Archie Bunker's neighbor, then on Laverne and Shirley. She never stopped performing. At 82, she returned to Broadway in a revival of Stephen Sondheim's Follies. In 2003, she earned an Emmy nomination for a guest role on Becker. She co-founded Theater West in Los Angeles and was teaching her musical comedy class there just days before she died on February 12, 2011. She was 91 years old. She danced until the very end. But Shirley's boyfriend, the man with the golden voice and the boxer's heart, his ending came quietly, and no one was there to hear it. Number 5. Carmine Ragusa was Shirley Feeney's on-again, off-again boyfriend. They called him the Big Ragoo. He was a part-time boxer who dreamed of becoming a singer and a dancer, and every time Eddie Mekka stepped in front of the camera to perform a musical number, you understood why. The man had genuine Broadway-level talent. Before Laverne and Shirley, Eddie Mekka earned a Tony Award nomination for Best Actor in a Musical for The Lieutenant in 1975. The show only ran 9 performances, but his talent was undeniable. He had trained at the Berklee College of Music in Boston. After the sitcom ended, he kept working steadily. Guest roles on The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, ER, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He had a small part in Penny Marshall's A League of Their Own. He performed as Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof in 2010. He never stopped. On November 27, 2021, neighbors in Newhall, California checked on Eddie after not hearing from him for several days. They found him at home. He had passed away peacefully. He was 69 years old. No cause of death was ever given. You grew up watching these faces every week. If Laverne and Shirley were part of your Tuesday nights, I know what you're feeling right now. Who are you watching this with today? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Eddie left this world in silence, but the next man on our list kept the biggest secret in Hollywood for 15 years. And when the truth finally came out, it changed everything. Number 4. You remember the entrance. The door swings open, and there he is. Hello. That single word, delivered with that unmistakable nasally voice, became one of television's most beloved recurring moments. David Lander's Squiggy was inseparable from Michael McKean's Lenny. They created those characters together as students at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, long before the cameras ever rolled. 1 year after Laverne and Shirley ended, in 1984, David Lander was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. He told no one. For 15 years, he kept his condition hidden from the public, from casting directors, from nearly everyone. He continued acting. He voiced Smartass, the chief weasel in Disney's Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He appeared in A League of Their Own. He even became a professional baseball scout for the Anaheim Angels and the Seattle Mariners, and was a minority owner of the Portland Beavers minor league team. All while quietly fighting a disease that was slowly taking his body. He finally went public in 1999 and became a goodwill ambassador for the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. David Lander died on December 4th, 2020, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. He had battled MS for nearly 37 years. He was 73. 37 years with a disease that never stopped advancing. And he never stopped working. Never stopped making people laugh. That is not acting. That is something else entirely. Squiggy fought in silence for almost 4 decades, but the woman who started it all the one who put that cursive L on her sweater. Her story, after the show, rewrote Hollywood history. And then, it ended too soon. Number 3. There has never been another character quite like Laverne DeFazio. The tomboy, the brewery worker, the Pepsi and milk drinker, the woman with the cursive L on every single sweater she owned. Penny Marshall didn't just play Laverne, she was Laverne. Her physical comedy, her slapstick timing, her ability to make you laugh and then break your heart in the same scene earned her 3 Golden Globe nominations. At its peak, Laverne and Shirley was the #1 show in all of American television. But what Penny Marshall did after the cameras stopped rolling is what made her a legend. She became a film director, and not just any director. In 1988, she directed Tom Hanks in Big, and it became the first film ever directed by a woman to gross more than $100 million at the United States box office. 2 years later, she directed Awakenings with Robin Williams and Robert De Niro, which was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. Then came A League of Their Own in 1992, the film that gave us one of the most quoted lines in movie history. "There's no crying in baseball." That line made the American Film Institute's list of the 100 greatest movie quotes of all time. Her brother, Gary Marshall, created both Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley. Penny Marshall died on December 17, 2018, at her home in Hollywood Hills. Heart failure, cardiovascular disease, and complications from diabetes. She was 75 years old. She was cremated and laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park. On her headstone, there is a single letter engraved at the bottom, the letter L, just like Laverne's sweater. Penny Marshall gave us Big. She gave us A League of Their Own. She gave us Laverne. If you could say one thing to her right now, what would it be? The comments are open. Take your time. Laverne changed the game. But what about Shirley? The woman who walked away from the show, who sued the studio, who spent her final days telling her own story on stages across America. Number 2. A serious she ever became Shirley Feeney. Cindy Williams was already making her mark on Hollywood. In 1973, she starred alongside Ron Howard in George Lucas's American Graffiti, earning a BAFTA nomination for Best Supporting Actress. The following year, she appeared in Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation. She was working with the greatest directors of a generation before she was 30 years old. Then came Laverne and Shirley. Williams played the optimistic, straight-laced Shirley, dreaming of love and a better life. Together with Penny Marshall, she created one of the most iconic duos in television history. The Schlemiel, Schlemazel opening chant became a cultural phenomenon. But behind the scenes, things unraveled. During the final season, Williams became pregnant with her first child. The producers scheduled her to work on her due date. She refused to sign the contract. She left the show and sued Paramount for $20 million. In the years that followed, Williams made her Broadway debut in The Drowsy Chaperone in 2007. She published her memoir, Shirley, I Jest, in 2015. She reunited with Penny Marshall on Sam and Cat in 2013. And she took her one-woman show, Me, Myself, and Shirley, on a national tour, sharing stories from her extraordinary life right up until the very end. Cindy Williams died on January 25, 2023, in Los Angeles, following a brief illness. She was 75 years old. She was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills. She is survived by her children, Zach and Emily Hudson. Shirley never stopped performing, not for a single day. And now, there is one man left, the last one standing. the one whose second chapter might be the greatest of them all. After everything we've just been through, this next story is different. This one has a pulse. Number 1. You remember the moment. The door swings open, Lenny and Squiggy burst through, and the studio audience erupts. Michael McKean's Lenny Kosnowski was the lovable, sweet, slightly dim-witted half of the greatest comedy duo of the 1970s. He and David Lander created those characters together at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, years before Gary Marshall put them on national television. They even released an album as Lenny and the Squigtones in 1979, and the guitarist on that record was credited as Nigel Tufnell. That guitarist was Christopher Guest, and that name would change everything. In 1984, McKean, Guest, and Harry Shearer created This Is Spinal Tap, one of the greatest comedy films ever made. McKean played David St. Hubbins. Then came Clue in '85, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in '87. At 46, he joined the cast of Saturday Night Live, becoming one of the oldest performers to ever do so. He won a Grammy Award for co-writing the song A Mighty Wind, and he and his wife, actress Annette O'Toole, co-wrote A Kiss at the End of the Rainbow, which was nominated for an Academy Award. On Broadway, he starred in Hairspray, The Best Man, and The Little Foxes. And then came Chuck McGill. From 2015 to 2022, Michael McKean played the brilliant, tortured lawyer on Better Call Saul. It is widely considered one of the finest television performances of the past decade. He earned an Emmy nomination for the role. From Lenny Kosnowski to Chuck McGill. From a dim-witted brewery neighbor to a Shakespearean antagonist. That is range. That is a lifetime of craft. His life has not been without loss. His son, Colin, passed away in 2012 at the age of 36. His comedy partner, David Lander, passed away in 2020. But Michael McKean is still here. He is 78 years old. He played the President of the United States on Netflix's The Diplomat from 2023 through 2025. And in 2026, the Spinal Tap sequel, Spinal Tap at Stonehenge, the final finale, is set to arrive. He is the last surviving male cast member of Laverne Shirley. And he is not done yet. Before we go, let us take a moment for the 6 we have lost. Phil Foster, 1913 to 1985, 72 years old, a heart attack. He was the first to leave us, just 2 years after the final episode. Brooklyn's finest. Betty Garrett, 1919 to 2011, 91 years old, an aortic aneurysm. She survived the Hollywood blacklist, danced with Gene Kelly, and was still teaching her students the week she died. Penny Marshall, 1943 to 2018, 75 years old, heart failure. She changed what was possible for women in Hollywood. The letter L lives on. David L. Lander, 1947 to 2020, 73 years old. Complications from multiple sclerosis after a 37-year battle. He fought in silence and never stopped laughing. Eddie Mekka, 1952 to 2021, 69 years old. The big Ragoo left this world quietly, a Tony-worthy talent who deserved a standing ovation. Cindy Williams, 1947 to 2023, 75 years old. A brief illness. She was Shirley until the very last day. Laverne and Shirley, Lenny and Squiggy, the big Ragoo and Frank DeFazio, Edna and Rhonda. 50 years later, and they still make us smile through the tears. Which one of these 8 do you miss the most? Tell me below. Memories don't age. They just wait for us to come back. I'll see you next time.